Hi.
Hey everybody.
How you doing?
Things have changed. I didn't change my clothes though. First of all, we watched All About Eve and that starred Bette Davis. And it came to Kelsey's mind that we should watch another Bette Davis picture, something that was more along the lines of like the end of her career with, what was it, Wicked Stepsister.
Mother.
It
was a doozy because All About Eve is a spectacular movie.
It was great. I had never seen it before. Everybody knows that line.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Insanely witty writing.
Yeah.
Plot twists, you think you know it from the beginning. They kind of open it up with the end of the movie. But everything along the way just is more and more scandalous. Like, oh my God, how could one person be this calculating?
A part in a play. You do all that just for a part in a play. I'd do much more for a part that good.
So basically there's like 5 or 6 main characters throughout the film, and it sort of follows their interactions with this young starlet named Eve and how she rises to the top in her own sort of span. But what's really cool is about halfway through the movie, there is an introduction of another young starlet who is taking another approach to climbing her way to the top, which is a lot more voluptuous and sexy. And there's a very famous blonde woman with a little wiggle that we all know and love, and that's Marilyn Monroe.
Her scenes are pretty limited. She's not a very huge, prominent figure or character in the film, but she has a place, and it's kind of interesting to see that dynamic with these beautiful actresses and how they're able to manipulate men into basically doing what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, waiter.
And that isn't a waiter, my dear, that's a butler.
Well, I can't yell, "Oh, butler," can I? Maybe somebody's name is Butler.
You have a point. An idiotic one, but a point.
I don't want to make trouble. All I want is a drink.
Leave it to me. I'll get you one.
Thank you, Mr. Fabian.
Well done.
The costumes in this are just absolutely stunning. Like, there's certain ways that, like, costume very much helps tell the story, which most costume design does, but it's done in some very simple ways.
Well, like we were saying before, I think my favorite aspect was the writing, and it's easy to have an apprehension before you watch an older film. And you have to remember there's such an elegance and a sophistication like towards these characters and just like the way that they speak.
I've listened backstage to people applaud. It's like waves of love coming over the footlights and wrapping you up. Imagine to know every night that different hundreds of people love you. They smile, their eyes shine, you've pleased them. They want you. You belong.
Cadence and rhythm and use of words and having a vocabulary that is quite vast.
Yeah, there's a care towards each like fucking word that comes out of these characters' mouths, and it was a pleasure to listen to. It was like watching a really well written play. Whoa, this movie's about plays.
What? Theater? Full circle. Ah! So on a scale of 1 to 10 flamingos, how many flamingos does this one get?
I would say a 9.
Okay.
It's a classic. It belongs in that, in that category of like, this is like a best picture. This is a classic. This is something you should really watch. But it is. It's timeless and it's well written. It's very well directed. The performances are all extraordinary. I think this was my first Bette Davis film that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, honey, we have so much to teach you. You're sitting down and having an evening with these people.
Yeah, fucking loved it.
Like, if we're being honest, 9. 9.
Yeah, give me
9 flamingos.
Yes,
9 flamingos.
Solid. This is certainly a tape that belongs in your collection, in anybody's collection. It's a film that you can watch with anybody.
Whether it be revisiting it or introducing somebody to great classic cinema. And also, I like having movies like this at my disposal where I can go and do a little bit of like fashion research, costuming research, like just sort of see how certain, garments were made back in the day.
Definitely. Yeah. It was a really great film. I was very pleased to have seen it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yes.
then that brings us on to Wicked Stepmother.
Finally, the motion picture that answers the question,
This is a major lawsuit.
which is which?
Which is which is our title here.
I want a sandwich.
It's a doozy. Let me preface this by saying I purchased this VHS based on the actual cover art. You're used to seeing like two women standing there smoking, but then you get all up and close and personal and you see that the cat has a cigarette. It is a Larry Cohen film, which Larry Cohen has directed. It's Alive, special effects, The Ambulance with Eric Roberts. He's known for his thrillers, so this was more of a family-ish.
It's family-ish.
We came home a day early. We missed you, Dad.
I met a lady.
A lady. Well, that's nice.
I fell in love.
With who?
I got married.
I had a rough time with this movie. I think the thing that like really got to me was just like the sitcom level of everything, down to the acting, down to these completely obvious sets. There are these really strange moments that just come out of nowhere, like the volleyball fighting scene.
Mikey, don't. Mikey, okay. Mikey.
You can't have an 80s movie that takes place in Los Angeles without having a scene on the beach where the underdog takes on the bullies and wins and impresses a girl in the meantime.
Hey. Come with me, Mikey, and I'll show you something.
We're thrown scenes, we're thrown characters, and it's just, it's a collection of just bizarre little moments.
There's a hodgepodge, like, of just things that were written together. And
just a lot of like kind of like disconnected scenes. It was kind of like hard to follow where our main character was at certain points. Let's talk about Bette Davis really quick, because that was like the entire reason for this double feature.
Yes.
I'm just really impressed that they were able to get her corpse to act in this picture.
I can't tell you how wonderful it is to be part of a family again.
She's flicking ashes.
Perhaps Dad didn't mention it, but we don't smoke in our house.
Good for you. To nasty habit.
She's very old.
She's a prominent character in the first like 35 minutes, where you do realize that, you know, this girl, the main character's father, has now married this woman, and then she transfers like her soul or her body into a cat.
There's a lot to behold, but I'm really glad that I got you to sit through it.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing this director's other films, but the way that he chose to shoot that final climax was really just something else. And like I don't know, man, I couldn't fucking believe it.
Oh! Don't worry, I can handle it! I've got everything under control! This is war!
Oh my god. It was a clusterfuck. And it all like came together like in the end.
An enjoyable one.
There's some really interesting, bizarre little moments in this film, but the fact that it is technically like a family comedy made it feel just like a little bit more obnoxious and kind of grating.
Honey, I hope the Nukamoto didn't... What's happened to my kitchen? What has happened to my kitchen?
What do you mean, what's happened to your kitchen?
And where the hell are your pants?
Don't change the subject.
Larry Cohen is also very much known for producing and writing and sort of doing his own thing, and the fact that this is affiliated to MGM leads me to believe that there was a lot of decisions that were made for him, hence why there's a big clunkiness, but that is just a feeling that I have. How many flamingos would you give this one?
I'm gonna give this a 1.
A 1?
This is a 1 flamingo out of 10. I do not feel that this belongs in your collection.
Fair enough. Just because, like, one, being a child of Los Angeles, I really like seeing, like, things sort of the way that it was back in the day. And just genuine, just creativity and ambition to achieve something of this magnitude. You know, I have a special place in my heart for Larry Cohen. So,
amen.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it a fair 5 flamingos and 1 black cat.
This was a really interesting double feature. I appreciated the fact that we had a classic, older picture and something a little bit more ridiculous, a little bit more of a cult comedy. So we can get strange with our double features. We can get strange with our choices. Interesting first episode, I might say.
I truly hope we have not bored everyone too much.
I mean, nobody's watching anymore at this moment.
We'll get better at our reviews.
Excellent.
Cool. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thank you for sticking around and
cheers
watching stuff with us. What is this?